Hi, this is a higher 5,000 BTU window air conditioner. 7 years ago, I made a video showing everyone how they could install a window air conditioner in a boat using simple duct work. Well, my boat has a option, or had an option for a marine air conditioner, and it's molded into the fiberglass case, but it doesn't have one. So I've decided to switch over to a water-cooled version of what I showed you in my previous video. In the previous video, that air conditioner I use is still going strong after 7 years, but it does take up a lot of space, and it's seasonal, so you have to pull it in and out. This is a permanent installation, and so what I'm going to do is show you how to take it apart and put a water jacket on the back and use the lake water for cooling purposes. So let's get started. Now, as you can see here, we've removed all of the Phillips head screws, and that holds most of this in. The main thing holding it right now is there's 3 bolts in the compressor, and we need to undo the bolts and then lift this entire assembly over on a flat platform. You need to be extremely careful not to damage any of this tubing, or you will lose your refrigerant, and at that point it'd pretty well be the end of the project. So as you can see, everything's loose. The fan and assembly is going to lift straight out, but it is attached to the electrical, so we're going to try to work around that without having to take too much loose on the electrical. This is the part right here in the back that we need to do the water jacket on. Okay, so you can see here that I have labeled the color coding for the compressor, and now the only other thing is the fan controls, and they're all color coded, and I have got them loose. I am just going to leave the power cord on the box and place it aside like this. The only other thing is, on this box, this is your, what controls your temperature. This is your temperature sensor, and it is pretty robust, and it just simply slips into the fins on the front, and so it comes right out. Now, with the wires loose, the entire fan assembly and squirrel cage and motor all slip right out, and we put those aside, and everything is loose, as you can see. And compressor also. So now we just need to lift this whole thing and slide it over very carefully. This really is quite a nifty trick. What I did is I put 2 flare nuts on here, and they have what's called a flare plug. And I tapped 2 grease fittings on it. And so we filled it up with water, and then I hooked the flare up underwater, and then I took my grease gun and pumped grease into it to put it under pressure. A grease gun can put out several thousand pounds. At this point, you need to add a fill tube. I just took a 3/8 with a barb and cut the barb off and used the lock nuts to attach it. The best place to locate it in my case was on the opposite end of the compressor, so I could run a siphon tube all the way down so I could drain the fluid and also replace it as needed. This is the final configuration of the water conversion for the air conditioner. First I have, for the intake and exhaust, I have 20 feet each of tubing, half-inch tubing, and I put valves on it so I can keep the pump primed. These pumps do not self-prime, so otherwise I have to run water through it. So these valves will be handy. I'll just drop the lines in the water when I'm there and make sure I shut the valves, and that will be set. The water comes in here. I do have a filter here, but I also have a bigger filter for the main line that drops in the lake. I put these valves here so I could take the filter off and clean it and not lose my prime on the pump. And there's a little flow indicator. This thing spins. That way I can tell if I've got proper water. Now on the air conditioner itself, we have a condensate line, for the pan, which I can run into my bilge on the boat. And I put two pumps in. The water comes in here, goes through one pump and another. I wasn't getting the delivery I was after. I wanted at least 1 gallon per minute. In other words, 60 gallons an hour. And this was one pump was only putting out about 3/4. This does give me a redundancy. It will still function if one of these pumps was to fail. And so I kind of like that. And I can also diagnose, is it the 12-volt pump or is it the 12-volt adapter? The water then goes into the compressor coil. This is just air cool type situation, but I run it across it first because I want to keep this, they run pretty hot anyway, and so I want to keep this as cool as possible. Then it goes into the heat exchanger. All that copper that I coiled up in that double back coil is all inside here. I surrounded the whole thing, as you can see, with aluminum and used gutter sealant to seal it up in screws. After it has run through the heat exchanger, it then exits out here back into the lake. And of course I've labeled everything red and blue so I know hot and cold and all that. And here's what the installation looks like. And you can see below, I've got my flow meter. I've still got to fix my tubes a little straighter, but that's it. And here it is working here. It really cools it down. It reminds me of a walk-in cooler. And this is what it looks like with the trim installed. Also, I straightened up the lines nicely, and you can see the flow indicator spinning, and the filter is not really all that clogged. It's looking a little bit of stuff, but not much.